What's up everyone, and welcome back to the second channel. Today I'm going to touch on a topic that I know a lot of young filmmakers are eager to know a little bit more about, and that is film festivals. I've been thinking about this a lot recently because of the whole global situation, and I was thinking about what's going to happen to them because of this. And what really spurred me thinking about this was Cannes essentially being cancelled. Get it? They announced the lineup, but there's no jury, so there's going to be no Palme d'Or given. I don't think they're going to give any awards, so honestly, it's just kind of pointless. Now, Cannes getting canceled is big news because it's a big festival, but tons of festivals are canceling. I had 3 festivals actually cancel on me that my film was supposed to show in April, I think. They all canceled. I got refunded by one of them because one of them was postponing, seeing what was going to happen, and then they just ended up canceling. And they refunded me, so I got that at least. So what's in store for festivals in the future? Before I get to that, I want to just kind of reel it back a little bit and see what festivals are and what they are to the indie filmmaker. Now, every indie filmmaker has this path that they want to go down with how to make their film, which is they make their film, they submit it to festivals, then it gets into a festival. They want it to get into Sundance, or they want it to get in Toronto. Maybe it doesn't get into those, but maybe it gets into, decent mid-sized to smaller festivals. And then the hope is that there's some distribution person there that's going to watch the movie and then it's going to come up to them and say, I want to buy this for $1 million. But we all know that the combination of all that happening is really slim to none. It's probably not going to happen. It's just not a good business plan because you got to spend all this money to make the movie, and then you have to spend a ton of money to actually apply to the festivals, and you don't know if you're going to get in. Now, see, I'm speaking from experience. I've gone to festivals with the thought that my movie was going to sell, and I think that maybe every time a filmmaker goes to a festival, there is that in the back of the mind, what if there's someone here? I mean, it's just like the La La Land, it's kind of a stupid song, but whatever. The La La Land thing of someone in the crowd. You are thinking that. But after my first festival experience, my expectations were tempered. And I realized that this probably was just not going to happen with the kind of festivals that, I could get into. And I just needed to have fun. So I ended up going to these festivals with the intent of having fun. And I had a lot more success in these festivals when I went in with that mindset. And submitting to festivals, I realized that since maybe there wasn't going to be this magical person to buy my movie at these festivals, submitting to the festivals, I realized what I was doing, and that was marketing for the movie. I wanted to get into these festivals so I could get the laurels to put on the poster, because it's like this, it's a marketing thing, right? You have an indie poster, you get the festival laurels, you put it on there, and it tells people that the film is of some quality, that it's verified by a third party, that somebody objective watched it and they liked it enough to put into a festival. So maybe this person will like it enough to rent it or buy it. And that's really what it is. You want those laurels to help sell your movie. But you have to think about these festivals. Who's actually watching the movies? Who's deciding whether or not you get into the festivals? And you don't know. And of course, they can't exactly tell you, because then you could maybe reach out to them and say, I'll give you $5,000 if you get me into Sundance or something like that. That's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. So, but I can give you a little bit of a hint. A lot of these festivals use interns and stuff like that to pre-screen the movies. And if they don't like the movie within the first 5 minutes, they're turning it off. They're going to the next film, because a lot of these festivals get tons of submissions. Some of them don't. The smaller festivals, it's probably the person who's maybe running the festival in some of these cases is also screening all the movies. But in the larger stuff, yeah, it's like interns. You're getting 18, 19-year-olds who are watching these movies. If they don't like within the first 5 minutes, you're gone. Now, if it moves past that intern stage, if it gets screened and they say that they like it, it's one of those things where it moves up the ladder, right? But at the end of it, when they're making the final decision, there are other things that come into play. And so some of the factors that they use to determine whether or not the films actually get shown at the festivals are the quality of the films, whether or not they fit into the theme of the festival, because a lot of festivals will want to have running themes throughout their movies, and then politics. Now, for politics, it's both the obvious choice of it, which is like, is the film proselytizing their political agenda, whichever agenda that might be? And then it's also sort of the industry politics. Like maybe the guy that's running it owes a favor to this producer, or maybe he wants to be on the good side of this, small studio or this production company or something like that. So he's going to have this film show there. It's a business decision. Because if you think about it, every film that a film festival chooses is a business decision. They are saying that this film is going to be playing at this time. They're going to be selling tickets for this. So they're kind of betting on people buying tickets for that movie, and they're going to make that money. Of course, you don't make any money, but whatever. So anyways, so festivals are going to want to have movies that they feel like can sell more tickets. I mean, that's obvious, right? They want to put butts in seats. So if a film has some well-known actors or a well-known director, maybe the festival is going to watch that a little bit more closely. Maybe they'll consider it a bit more. And not to say that they're going to necessarily immediately enter it, but it's definitely going to skew their judgment of the film, especially if the actors and the director can come to the festival, because the celebrities being there will be a big drawing point for audiences. And so more people will buy tickets because they'll want to talk to the actors or the director after the showing of the film. So don't think that because your film didn't get into a festival, that means the film is bad. It's not the case. Look, I've been to a lot of festivals. I was a huge festival connoisseur back in the day. And I gotta say, I've seen more bad movies at festivals than I've seen good. The quality control in festivals is just not that great overall. And if I was a consultant to these festivals, I would be watching the movies and saying like, no, you can't have that. Like, that's crap. But I don't know. Some of these people have quite questionable tastes. And maybe that's one of the reasons why it's hard for some of these ones to sell tickets. Because at the end of the day, for a normal audience member, if they know that festivals are kind of hit or miss with their screenings, it's a gamble for them to buy a ticket. They don't know if the film is going to be good or not. It's not vetted. They don't know anything about it. So they're going to be less likely to attend these festivals. So getting back to the filmmaker and all this, what I'm saying is that you need to be strategic about it, and you need to know why you're doing it. A lot of film festivals cost a lot of money to enter. Sometimes you'll find them for $5 entry fee. Sometimes it's like hundreds of dollars. So, when you're submitting to all these festivals, it can add up. Don't submit only to festivals that you really want to get into, because chances are you're only going to get into a fraction of the film festivals that you apply to. So you have to apply to way more festivals than you're going to get into, which, you're going to be spending a lot of money. But here's a trick. On Film Freeway, which is what, a lot of people use and what I use to submit to festivals. Now, some festivals have their own, built into their website where you submit your film there, but most festivals use Film Freeway. So Film Freeway has this thing where you can pay to basically have your film emailed to all the festivals. Go for that. It's a steep upfront price. If you have gold, I think it costs a little bit less, or whatever they call it. I don't know, whatever their VIP thing is. It costs a little bit less. But what it does is Film Freeway emails all the festivals your project, and then the projects will email you discount codes to their festivals. And a lot of times I got 50% off, which is good. Sometimes I got entire fees waived. It was 100% off. Sometimes it's 12%, and you get some weird stuff in there too. We'll give you 7.5% off. I'm like, why? I was pretty much only looking at 50% to 100%. And I wasn't really bothering with any of the rest. But you can save a ton of money doing that. I personally saved thousands of dollars doing this method. And that way I was also able to apply to way more festivals than I knew that I was going to get into, but it meant that my film got into a lot of festivals. Now, moving forward. So say that your film gets into a festival, right? What do? Do you go to the festival? Do you just kind of sit at home and talk about it on Facebook and Instagram and, just brag about it? It depends. So what I suggest is that you look into the festival and see the reviews of it. And now the reviews on Film Freeway are usually going to skew towards like 5-star reviews because they want to be in other festivals' good graces or something like that. But if you do a little bit of research, you'll be able to see, like, is this a festival that's worth attending or is it not? And most festivals, in my experience, aren't really worth attending. Some of them can be fun, but as far as like monetary, like down payments to go someplace, like having to take a train somewhere or having to get a hotel room, most festivals I went to just really weren't worth it in the end. I'm glad I went to learn it, but they weren't worth it in the end. Like one time I went to a festival and I thought it was going to be this big festival, and it was in a rundown, like, old movie theater in a strip mall. And the photos made it look nice, but that was because they had just, like, this fake wall. It's one of those, like, fake walls with all the, like, brands and stuff and logos on it that everyone was taking their photos at, and nobody was taking photos anywhere else because the place was falling apart. And then there was another festival where it was like in a hotel room, or not a hotel room, it was a hotel lobby. And the guy just didn't even have the schedule done when I showed up there. They didn't have my movie. They didn't have the schedule done. And so my movie ended up being pushed all the way to like 11:30 at night when everyone had left. So that like there was 5 people left to watch my movie at the end of the night. And I was kind of pissed off. Not gonna lie. But I've also made great friends and collaborators at film festivals, so sometimes they're good, but you have to be wary of the ones that aren't. What I learned in my experience is that the festivals will choose your film, but after that, it's important that you choose the festivals, right? Because for every good festival, there are 10 or more just absolutely crappy ones. But please, do not go to these festivals thinking that it's gonna be your big break. Chances are it's not. And, maybe these festivals are hoping you come there because you're going to be the next big thing that they're going to be able to put in all of their, advertisements later on. So you don't know who's trying to profit off of who in this situation. But if you go to these festivals with the intention of just having a good time and enjoying yourself and talking to the audience and doing all that sort of stuff, you know what? It'll probably be good. You'll probably have a blast. So festivals used to be places where independent creators, independent filmmakers could showcase their works for the public to see. And a lot of these festivals back in the 80s and the 90s, the directors that were in these festivals are now mainstream directors today. However, nowadays we have the internet. So how does the internet like interact with festivals? How is it going to change the fate of film festivals in the future? I think that there's going to be a culling of festivals of sorts. That this pandemic is going to bankrupt a lot of festivals, so there's going to be fewer festivals in the future than there are now, but that's not really saying a whole lot because there are way too many festivals now, and there's still probably going to be way too many festivals in the future. But even so, a lot are going to fold. Now, online festivals, I think, are going to do okay, but I don't know like how sustainable online festivals are, in the sense that I think that they have a place, but I don't think that they're going to replace real festivals. And it's because of this. With like an online festival, now I've had my film in a few online festivals. It's like you pay an entry fee, right? And then they put your film on a Vimeo page for a week or 2 weeks or however long that they say the festival goes for. They put it on this Vimeo page behind a paywall. And then they give awards that are, like hollow, really, an emailed award, But they give these awards, and it just makes me think, like, I spent money, to get my film in here. I don't make any money from it. I don't get any audience interaction with it. There's no networking opportunity. For a filmmaker, you go to these festivals for networking, to meet people, to get feedback from the audience and all that sort of stuff. And that's completely lost with these online festivals. Like, I can do that myself, right? I can take the MP4 or ProRes file of my movie. I can put it up on Vimeo or YouTube Unlisted or wherever. and then make it public or behind a paywall for 2 weeks and then take it down. Like I could do that myself. What I'm paying for when I submit to a festival is to have it in like a physical space, to have it projected, because I want to see it in the cinema. I want to see it on a big screen. But how willing are people going to be to come back to the cinema? I really don't know. I don't know how willing they're going to be this year, at least. I think that next year we're going to be fine, but this year I'm not sure. Personally, I can't wait to go back to the cinema. I'm like going crazy not being able to go to the movies. Actually, just not being able to like go out at all has driven me a little bit insane. Hence the second channel, I guess. It's just a diary, a document of the Kino Corner's growing madness. But whatever. I can't wait to go back to the cinema, but I don't know how willing like normal people, not that I'm abnormal, but I don't know how willing other people are going to be to go back to the cinema. And a lot of festivals, well, at least festivals that aren't like Sundance or Toronto or Cannes, they have issues already with filling seats. Even when I worked at Atlanta, there were issues with a lot of the screenings weren't filled. Sometimes it was 50% capacity, sometimes it was less. And the smaller the festival, the harder it is for them to sell tickets. And with this whole situation, people are going to be less likely to buy tickets for anything. I think that that's also going to cause further bankruptcies of festivals, even after this whole pandemic thing blows over. I think that people just maybe are going to be a little bit more wary of cinemas. But who knows? Maybe people will just like rush to it like en masse. And maybe they'll be more willing because they don't want to be in their homes. So honestly, I can't call it, but my gut feeling, motorcycle. But my gut feeling is that it's going to be difficult for festivals to sell tickets in the near future. I know I shit on festivals a little bit in this video, but think about this. If you release your film online, you're competing with literally every single video online. But if you release the film in a festival, you're only competing with a number of other films, and probably only the other film that is sharing some kind of time space with your film. So in a festival, it's more likely that you're going to have people watching your movie, and that audience interaction also might help them remember the film, and they're going to watch the whole movie, unless they walk out, of course, which, that happens. But, if it's online, you might get more views. You might think that you get more views, but maybe they're like the first 5 minutes and they kind of tune out or something like that. It's more passive viewers than active viewers. And considering that you're competing with all these other videos, your film can get just instantly buried. So I think that there's still a place at festivals for indie filmmakers, considering that they're good for marketing, meeting fans, and getting audience feedback. That being said, another little warning is that some of these festivals like Sundance and Toronto, they do favor movies with bigger budgets. So if you have a very small budget film, you should look at what kind of festivals your film works for. And that's what I'm saying. Be strategic with how you submit to these festivals. Also be strategic with which festivals you decide to attend. If you don't do both of those, you'll get burned out by these festivals pretty quickly, and you might also just become bankrupt and just completely run out of money before you can even sell your movie. And because of the cancellation of all these festivals, I know that a lot of indie filmmakers have been affected because they've been wanting their films to get out there, wanting people to, learn about their visions, learn about their, shorts, features, that sort of stuff. It's kind of grim. It is kind of a grim time for filmmakers right now. Productions are halted and film festivals are stopped and everything like that. So I want to put this out. If you're an indie filmmaker and you follow my channel and you follow my second channel, I guess that's the only way that you'd be seeing this. You are invited to come onto my live stream to talk about your movie. I want to have indie filmmakers come onto my live streams and talk about the movie that they made. If you made a film recently in the last year or two, if you made a movie, come on to my live stream. Tell me about the film. Tell me how you made it. Give me some production stories, some production notes. I love doing that. I love sharing stories like that. we would love to have you. So that is it for the video. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video.